Be sure to check out my Patreon for weekly exclusive interviews, extra content on Veve and Omi, and building generational wealth, as well as money management tips from experienced whales. Yo, what's going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we're back with another Veve and Ecomi video. We're here with a video from the homie Dan. I want to check out what's going on. We got a lot happening right now, and your boy is back. If you saw the last video, we're pumping out some videos real quick. I want to catch up, see what's happening in the community, see what everyone's thinking, feeling, and the sentiment. We have a lot going on right now, a whole lot going on. So yeah, apparently there's a new leaked circulating burn mechanism in 2022, and Omi will moon soon. So let's see what's happening. And let's see. And honestly, there's a very serious chance that Omi could moon soon. I did a video with God's entry on the channel, and also one just posted this morning on the Patreon. So be sure to check that out as always. But yeah, let's jump into it, y'all.
Hey guys, my name is Dan. Welcome back to the channel here. So today I want to do something just slightly different. I want to talk about a topic that I've spent a little bit of time considering and doing some research on. And the thing I want to talk about today is I want to do a deep dive on Omi to gems. Now, this was a feature that was enabled as early as December 2020. Now, this was a feature that was enabled where people who had Omi could actually transfer their Omi and get gems in order to make purchases on the marketplace. So people who had invested into Omi, they could actually use some of those funds to buy collectibles. Now, this feature, and I know many of you guys know this as well, was eventually deactivated. I don't know when exactly, but it was as early as March 2021, because I remember when I came into this app in April, I tried to actually get some gems using the Omi I had purchased, and I found out that that was not enabled on the app. And after some confusion and doing some research, I realized that that was completely disabled, and we have not received that feature since. But there's been evidence that Omi to gems is going to come back to the Veve app, and I think there's some really interesting repercussions of this.
One thing I will say is I did see this. I saw that circulating around Twitter. That's one of the tweets that I caught. And I also saw Alex's response to it saying that it was old. The thing is, why is old code on the web app? And if this web app is new, it was just developed, right? Why is there old code there? Did you all use the same mobile code and just move the mobile code over to the desktop? Like, why is that there? I think that's the biggest question that we're wondering. Why would there be old code there? I mean, honestly, if it is coming or if it's not coming, Alex wouldn't be able to say. No one from the team would be able to confirm something. They all under NDA. They wouldn't be able to confirm it until it's confirmed. So this could be very legitimate, or it could really just be something old. We don't know.
So I want to do a deep dive on where we were with Omi to gems and where I think we can go with this feature. It's going to be a really good one. I think you all will enjoy this. If you wish to support me, I just merely ask, try to watch the video through the end. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to my channel for more content just like this, and leave me a comment down below. I read each and every one of your comments, and I appreciate them. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing I want to show you is an old YouTube video from Ecomi on their channel describing their initial vision of where the Omi token fit in the grand scheme of things with their Ecomi Collect, now known as Veve app. It's very clear that they intended the Omi token to be the only currency to be used to purchase collectibles. Now, a lot of things happen, such as regulation, and I'm sure there was a lot of setbacks. So they eventually created a system where you could actually use gems, which is a stable coin within the Veve ecosystem, where one gem theoretically is worth $1 and you can cash out for that dollar. This is a great system because it allows a lot of mainstream non-crypto users to buy these collectibles. In the end, I think it was a great choice for them because we want this Veve app to go mainstream.
Honestly, what they need to do, but they would be acting as a brokerage at this point, which I don't think that they can do. But what would have been better is if it was only allowed to pay in Omi, but you could use Omi in a way where you would not know that it's a crypto. You just buy Omi like you're buying gems, and it just works that seamless. But I think that there's some complications with that, or something preventing it, or that maybe the regulation around that is not clear. Hopefully that's still the goal. I heard some type of restrictions or something happening with gems. I'm not sure. Maybe you can't. I heard you can't buy them before the drop or something. You can't hold gems anymore. It's coming in the future. I was hearing stuff like that. Don't know if that was rumors. Don't know if it was real. But it's interesting. It's interesting to think about. I want to see a place where Omi is the only currency. I think that that's the best plan, to be honest, especially for Omi holders. And hopefully we can get to a place where we get back there once. Now we're in a place where they can maybe fix whatever was wrong with it before, and once regulations clear, I think that that's going to be dope.
But in the end, one gem is still worth some equivalent value of Omi, which of course fluctuates drastically because of volatility, especially these days. But you have to remember that the vision for the Ecomi team was that Omi would always be used as a currency to buy collectibles. This is what they thought. Let's watch this clip that proves this thought.
I need some Omi tokens to buy the collectible. I complete the purchase and become the new owner.
So what you saw there is essentially the same of what we have today with kind of an initial step, right? You can actually...
I actually have never saw that video. That's crazy. My man's out here finding, like, where'd he find that? Like, they got the elevator music and everything. Go ahead.
Use your Veve app, use your credit card to buy gems, which of course are backed by Omi tokens in the reserve wallet. So essentially that part hasn't changed at all. The Ecomi team is trading their Omi tokens in the reserve wallet in exchange for fiat. You get gems or Omi that you can use to buy collectibles. So their thought here, of course, is that Omi tokens is the currency for the Veve ecosystem. Now, in order for a token to be an exclusive payment token for an existing ecosystem, the token should be used in both ways of the transaction, right? We just saw that, of course, we can use our fiat or credit card to purchase gems, which is Omi. We should also be able to use our Omi to buy collectibles. And this was the original thought of the team as well. As you can see here, an article written on December 9th, 2020, How to Swap Omi for Gems. This was an original article that conveyed instructions on how to do this process, and it was going to be really easy. You have your tokens in the Omi wallet, and there was a small button or function there that you can actually convert the Omi there into gems. Now, this article actually has been deleted. This has been preserved on nftnewstoday.com. If you try to go to the original article, it is deleted. And the reason it's deleted, it's not a conspiracy. That function just doesn't exist. But what if I told you there was evidence that this was coming back and it could have some big ramifications for the Omi token as well as Veve? Now, before we begin, I want to show you a clip from Superstar Money and Pudding Cheeks. Now, Pudding Cheeks, if you don't know who he is, he puts out a great spreadsheet that tracks all of the transactions on the Veve app in a very easy to use spreadsheet. It's really good information. He also has a lot of technical expertise and has been in this Veve Ecomi space really since the beginning. He's connected to a lot of well-known people within this community. This is one of the first interviews I've actually seen, and it was a really good one, but he throws out a big hint here. Now, this has some really interesting ramifications, and we'll talk about that here soon, but let's watch this quick clip where he spells it out for us.
One thing that I can say, we're easier to view around back when we had Omi to gems the first time. And I was sad to see it go because of the way all of the back end systems had to be rebuilt, but they're going to bring it back. It's going to be awesome.
So as you can see here, Pudding Cheeks leaks to us that Omi to gems is coming back. And actually just yesterday, there was even more evidence on Twitter that we could see Omi to gems on the Veve app here. So we have Brian Singh here. I was inspecting the network on the Veve official web app and noticed two feature flags that came back that have made me bullish. It looks like Omi to gem and gem to Omi features are being worked on by the team. And here we can see that Omi to gem conversions, it's a feature flag. Gem to Omi conversions, another feature flag here. There's also a lot of other new features here like KYC required, web app, things like that. So this leads me to believe that this is something new and not something old. So we know that Omi to gems and not.
Yeah, actually that doesn't make sense. So let Let me see. I mean, this is old code doesn't actually make sense because as you can see, KYC required and the two-factor authentication, the web gem purchases. Look at all of this stuff that came. That's at 5, 7, and 8, all the way down at 14. You mean to tell me some old code they made the more recent numbers? Like, obviously, they didn't start off writing this code starting at number 17, 16, 15, and 14. They started off at number 1. So it doesn't make sense that this would be old code because that was intentionally put there. So, yeah, I mean, what Alex said isn't really adding up right here. It doesn't make sense. And I'm a programmer. I know how you write code. You don't write code backwards. Like, you don't start from the bottom of the page and right to the top. You start from the top and you go down. Like, that's how you write anything. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense now that I think about it. I mean, this is because seriously, we could seriously see a return to this, honestly.
Something old. So we know that Omi to Gems is actually coming per Pudding Cheeks. We have evidence that these features are either being worked on or were enabled in the past. What does this mean? What does this piece of evidence mean for us? Now, there's actually a little bit of a debate here on this tweet here, but Kay says, I used to have access to the API docs on their UAT environment. Those flags always existed, but if you looked up the APIs, it said deprecated due to abuse or something along those lines. Now, I have heard from other whales within the community that this was a feature that was turned off because people were abusing it. From what I understand, Omi that you converted to gems was essentially put into the reserve wallet. And
so if that stuff was there, they already had that code from the planning for the web app. They already had that code planning for KYC and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know what Kay saw exactly, but if that stuff's old, that means that we know that they've been working on this stuff for a long time. But I mean, why wasn't that same information used a long time ago to show that they're working on KYC and all that? It's kind of weird. It's definitely weird.
May have been taken out of circulating supply. So people were using this feature and abusing it in order to rapidly decrease the circulating supply. And that is also one reason it could have been deactivated. And this is also correlated with what Kay says. Pudding Cheeks also says there were some technical issues, and that was probably very clear because their system could not scale to how many users we had in 2021. It was just overloading the system. They had to make some rapid changes, and that's why the app during those days was really kind of janky. It's a lot smoother now. No one really complains about it for the most part, except a couple outliers here and there. So this brings me to my next point. Could we see Omi to Gems burning from circulating supply? Let's elaborate on this as well. So we already know that Omi to Gems was a live feature in the past. We've heard from Pudding Cheeks that Omi to Gems is coming back, and it's presumably going to be pretty awesome. We also see some evidence in the actual interface here that this is a feature that is a feature flag. It's going to be a feature, or at least it was a feature at one point. We know that the team always wanted the Omi token to be the exclusive payment token for the Veve application. So where does this leave us now? I believe Omi to Gems is going to be one area where we could see circulating supply being burnt up very, very quickly. Now, think about this. You have the amount of tokens in the circulating supply. You take tokens that people have, they want to use those to buy gems. So you have tokens that each individual person has. They make a decision to actually trade those in for gems to buy collectibles on the app. So they take their Omi, they give it to Veve, they receive gems. They can now buy any collectible on the secondary market or primary market, presumably. Where does that Omi go? Now, most likely, it actually goes into the reserve wallet. If this is the case, it would take Omi from circulating supply directly at actually a very, very fast pace. This is not some huge analytical leap. We know they already had this feature. The only place these Omi tokens could go is the reserved wallet. It actually solves a problem that some of the people in the community have been asking. What happens to the reserve wallet. Will it ever go to zero? Risa said it won't go to zero. How can it not go to zero? Well, you have to replenish it. And this is one method using existing systems that Veve has that could be used to replenish the reserve wallet. This could be actually incredibly bullish and one of the most bullish aspects in utilities that could rapidly increase the value of the token. Now, I do admit there are some problems with doing this. Firstly, there was already an issue of people abusing this feature to presumably rapidly decrease the circulating supply.
But yeah, I mean, I would assume that they're in a different place from when they first released that. They have a lot more money in the bank. They have a lot bigger team, and they've dealt with a lot of problems since then. You telling me that one of their most known problems and biggest features, they wouldn't have figured out the solution to that already? I'm pretty sure that this would have been figured out by now. How to figure out how to not abuse this system. I'm pretty sure they would have done that by now. So yeah, I think that this sounds like a compelling evidence that we could see this feature return, and that's bullish.
One way I think they can actually get around this is by charging some fee, some small enough fee that encourages people to do this, but large enough that's going to discourage a lot of negative actors.
But I mean, wouldn't that fee probably, is the fee going to be an Omi? Because I mean, that just burns even more Omi. And I think a lot of people might take a little hit on the fee side if their Omi bag increases in value. So does that fix it? Or is the fee going to be in gems, or like where's it? Depends on where that fee comes from. Because I mean, if there's a fee, that's even more Omi leaving circulating supply. So yeah,
to abuse this feature, I think that's a good way that you can balance this out. Another way they can get around any abuse is they can limit how many Omi tokens you can use to transfer into gems. There could be some limit that encourages you to actually buy gems with Omi.
That would be fire. And then add it with the little pro staking program. So if you have 1 million Omi staked, you can transfer a certain amount of Omi to gems, and then you get a little bit more stake. Like each tier, you're allowed to transfer more and more Omi, Omi to gems. So basically, you have to be staking in order to use certain features. Like I think that would be a pretty nice solution. I mean, it wouldn't allow everybody to use. Well, everybody could do it. Probably make it free for everybody to do a certain amount of Omi, and then start making staking tiers matter.
But not enough that you can rapidly abuse or damage the system in any way. Now, another question I do have is, if you take your Omi tokens that you bought and you give it to Veve and get gems, essentially what's happening is that Veve is taking your Omi tokens and giving you money. Those Omi tokens don't have value for them unless they potentially sell it. And this is actually one problem I have seen with this system. I don't understand how Veve can sustain this long term. One thought I do have is we do have a buyback fund that Ecomi Veve has set aside or allocated. Remember that they initially wanted.
That would be fire. My man's putting pieces together right now. That would be fire, yo. That would be fire. They use that buyback fund to pay for when somebody tries to do this. Like that would be insane.
10% of primary sales to be used to buy back the token. I do believe the buyback fund can have some role in this because that is money that's already allocated to promote the token or give the token more value. So they could potentially use that buyback fund to maybe circumvent that. When you add in a potential fee to mitigate any bad actors, this could work out. But all in all, I don't know the intricacies of the Veve payment system, but I do know at the bare minimum, they already had this feature. So they already had some thought of how they're going to get value from these Omi tokens that they receive. At a bare minimum, however, I do believe that Omi to gems will utilize the buyback fund in some way. Remember, they wanted to apply 10% of all primary sales that they received to actually put some buy pressure on the Omi token. So what they could do is that they could take that Omi that they receive, sell off the rest to pay the licensors, and keep aside 7 to 10% and actually just keep that for themselves to eventually be burnt. That's one way where we could see buybacks come back in a way that's not a regulatory issue.
I don't know that they would sell Omi though. I don't know that they would put sell pressure on their token. I think that they've been trying to avoid every way possible to do that. I think that would probably be a last resort more so than them ever selling Omi themselves.
When you're thinking about it, you're just using your utility token, you're receiving it, you're selling some to get cash, but you're also keeping some for yourself. I don't see how this could be any sort of regulatory issue, but granted, I'm not some sort of legal or financial expert by any means. I'm just a layperson making some conclusions here. But all in all, I think Omi to Gems is coming. There's huge evidence for that. And I think Omi to Gems will be a part of a very bullish and robust Omi token utility program. As a result, when this does come out, I think it's going to be huge for the Omi token, and I'm very excited to see if I'm right. All right, if you did enjoy my video, thank you for watching to the end. I appreciate your support. If you want, please subscribe to my channel for more content.
Yeah, be sure to subscribe to my man. Show him some love, yo. He did his thing with this video. It was a lot of great information here. It was amazing. This is an amazing video, man. Let me know what you all think. How do you all feel? Do you feel like it's coming back? Do you feel like it's not? Definitely want to hear some thoughts, some arguments. Has there been an update since this was posted? Yeah, be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out, fam.